I don't know who you are, friend, but you made a serious mistake coming here. Lieutenant, I want everyone in the clearing, now! Captain!
Your men are dead, and your trap has failed. I suggest running back to your master while you can.
You're going nowhere, slave!
I am not a slave. I apologize. When I asked Anso to provide a distraction for the hunters, I had no idea they'd be so numerous.
Don't worry. We do this sort of thing often.
Impressive. My name is Fenris. These men were Imperial bounty hunters, seeking to recover a Magister's lost property, namely myself. They were trying to lure me into the open. Crude as their methods were, I could not face them alone. Thankfully, Anso chose wisely.
Everything Anso said was a lie, then?
Not everything. Your employer was simply not who you believed.
If you couldn't fight them, why not just run?
There comes a time when you must stop running, when you turn and face the tiger.
That seems like a lot of effort to find one slave.
It is.
Does this have something to do with those markings?
Yes. I imagine I must look strange to you. I did not receive these markings by choice. Even so, they have served me well. Without them, I would still be a slave.
Anso's job did seem a little too easy.
Perhaps the deception was unnecessary. If so, I'm sorry. I've become too accustomed to hiding. If I may ask, what was in the chest? The one they kept in the house?
It was empty.
I suppose it was too much to hope for. Even so, I had to know.
You were expecting something else?
I was, but I shouldn't have. It was bait, nothing more.
All that for an empty chest?
No, there's more. It's as I thought. My former master accompanied them to the city. I know you have questions, but I must confront him before he flees. I will need your help.
It sounds like you intend to do more than just talk.
Denarius wants to strip the flesh from my bones, and has sent so many hunters that I've lost count. And before that, he kept me on a leash like a Kunari mage, a personal pet to mock Kunari custom.
Ouch.
So, yes, I intend to do more than just talk.
If I'm compensated for my trouble, then I'll help.
I will find a way to repay you. I swear it. The Magister is staying at a mansion in Hightown. Meet me there as soon as you can. We must enter before morning. No one has left the mansion, but I've heard nothing within. Denarius may know we're here. I wouldn't put it past him.
I could stand to know a little more about this Denarius.
He is a Magister of the Tevinter Imperium. There, he is a wealthy mage with great influence. Here, he is but a man who sweats like any other when death comes for him.
What's the worst that could happen?
I do not fear death. That does not mean we should be reckless. Gone. I had hoped... No, it doesn't matter any longer. I assume Denarius left valuables behind. Take them if you wish. I need some air. It never ends. I escaped a land of dark magic, only to have it hunt me at every turn. It is a plague burned into my flesh and my soul. And now I find myself in the company of even more mages.
Ah, here it comes.
I saw you casting spells inside. I should have realized sooner what you really were. You harbor a viper in your midst. It will turn on you and strike when you least expect. That is in its nature.
I know the danger.
No pressure or anything.
I'm not blind. I know magic has its uses, and there are undoubtedly mages with good intentions. But even the best-intentioned mage can fall prey to temptation. And then their power is a curse to inflict upon others.
Considering all the curses inflicted on us, I'd say it's an even trade.
I imagine I appear ungrateful. If so, I apologize, for nothing could be further from the truth. I did not find Denarius, but I still owe you a debt. Here is all the coin I have, as Anso promised. Should you find yourself in need of assistance, I would gladly render it.
Your old master must want something more than just a runaway slave.
He doesn't want me at all, just the markings on my skin. They are lyrium, burned into my flesh to provide the power that Denarius required of his pet. And now, he wishes his precious investment returned, even if he must rip it from my corpse.
Seems like a waste of a perfectly handsome elf.
The truth is, I know nothing of the ritual that placed these markings on me. It was Denarius's choice, one he now regrets.
Do you think your master will keep chasing you?
He is too proud not to. Perhaps one day the hunt will cost him more than he is willing to pay, but I doubt that matters any longer.
You said Denarius is a magister, but little else.
In Tevinter, the Magisters hold all the power. Over the Chantry, over the Imperial Court, over life itself. It is nothing for one to own a slave. Denarius had many, but none he valued so much as me.
Then how did you get away?
Is it not enough that I did? I carved my path to freedom in blood. I left that life behind, yet his bounty hunters follow me no matter where I go. I will run no longer.
Are you going to have a problem with my companions?
I will watch them carefully if we travel together. I can promise no more.
I'm planning an expedition I might need help with.
Fair enough. Should you ever have need of me, I will be here. If Denarius wishes his mansion back, he is free to return and claim it. Beyond that, I am at your disposal. Agrigio Pavali. There are 6 bottles in the cellar. Denarius used to have me pour it for his guests. My appearance intimidated them, he said, which he enjoyed.
Nothing like a bit of fear with your wine.
That's what Denarius used to say. It's good I can still take pleasure in the small things.
You could have offered me a glass first, you know.
There's more, if you're really interested.
Perish the thought. How else would you redecorate the walls?
I've wanted to leave my past behind me, but it won't stay there. Tell me, have you never wanted to return to Ferelden?
I have no home left to return to.
The Blight is over. You could rebuild what you lost. Do you truly not want to?
My mother came from Kirkwall. Our heritage is here.
Having a place where you can put down roots, I understand. Still, to have the option must be gratifying.
Do you intend to keep living here?
I haven't decided. For now, it's as good as any other place. I would return to Saharan if I could, but there is no life for me there.
Is that where you're from?
So I've been told.
Were you very young when you left then?
Perhaps.
You could track your former master down, I assume.
I imagine he has returned to Minrathous, though I dare not go near the city while he is alive. No, it is better to wait for him to leave his fortress, fight from a fortified position. I do not expect your help when that day comes, but I would not turn it aside.
You've been on the run a long time then.
3 years now. Denarius has a way of finding me. Perhaps it is the markings. Whatever the means, it never takes him long to follow. This is the first time I've given him reason to pause. I suppose there are advantages in numbers.
Haven't you sought help before?
Hirelings, when I could steal the coin. Never anyone of substance. Until you. Denarius will not give up, however. I await his return.
What if he does give up? What then?
Then I go to him. I will not live with a wolf at my back.
Sounds like the right idea to me.
If it comes to that, I doubt it will.
Maybe it's just me, but it sounds like you want to stick around.
I could see myself staying, for the right reasons. I should thank you again for helping me against the hunters.
Yes, you should.
Had I known Ansel would find me a woman so capable, I might have asked him to look sooner.
You sound like you're about to ask for a loan.
Well, this mansion does require some upkeep. Perhaps I'll practice my flattery for your next visit. With any luck, I'll become better at it.
So the Seneschal's tax collector won't be coming around again like you asked. Funny story.
I'll pass, but thank you for the help.
Spoil sport. Why you want to squat up here in Hightown is beyond me.
I like the view.
So do I.
Three years. There's still no sign of Denarius. I'm beginning to wonder if he's finally given up.
This is his mansion, isn't it? He must know you're here.
Would you be surprised to learn that it isn't, in fact, his mansion? It belongs to a Tevinter merchant, one who has evidently given up on the place. Perhaps he is dead. Perhaps Denarius killed him. Either way, if Denarius is aware of my presence, he has done nothing.
Don't tell me you're going to miss all the attention.
Tell me, what do you do when you stop running?
You take a breath and look around. And start anew.
I don't know how. My first memory is receiving these markings. The lyrium being branded into my flesh. The agony wiped away everything. Whatever life I had before I became a slave, it's lost. I shouldn't trouble you with this. My problems are not yours.
You don't know who you were.
Fenris was the name Denarius bestowed upon me, his little wolf. If I once had another name or a family, then they were taken from me. But again, this is not your concern.
I might be able to help with your problems. Or give you a few more.
Only a few.
It depends if I really work at it.
Tempting. You're a beautiful woman, Hawk. Is there no one else who has your attention?
I didn't quite catch that first part.
I don't need to repeat the obvious, I'm certain. I'm an escaped slave and an elf living in a borrowed mansion. None of those things bother you.
And I'm a refugee as well as a human. Does that bother you?
You have me there. You raise an interesting point. I'll have to consider it. Last bottle of the Egregio. I've been saving it for a special occasion.
And what's that?
The anniversary of my escape. Astia Vala Firmundis. Care to hear the story?
I thought you avoided talking about this.
Not on special occasions.
I enjoy listening to you talk.
There are few pleasures greater than speaking with a beautiful woman. Let's see. You've heard of Saharan? The Imperium and the Qunari have fought over the island for centuries now. I was there with Denarius during a Qunari attack. I managed to get him to a ship, but there was no room for a slave. I was left behind. I barely got out of the city alive.
There's nothing like war for covering one's escape.
I had no intention of escaping. That time. There are rebels in the Saharan jungles called Fog Warriors. They found me and took me in, nursed me back to health. I stayed with them for a time, until Denarius finally came for me.
He was relieved to see you'd survived, right?
Relieved to see his investment hadn't ended up in Qunari hands, perhaps. I'd grown fond of the rebels. They bowed to no master and fought for their freedom. It was beyond my experience. When Denarius came, they refused to let him take me. He ordered me to kill them. So I did. I killed them all.
Once a slave, always a slave.
It felt inevitable. My master had returned and this fantasy life was over. But once it was done, I looked down at their bodies. I felt... I couldn't. I ran and never looked back.
Couldn't you have found other Fog Warriors? Become a rebel?
Even if I did, I felt unworthy. I had no way of knowing if I could truly escape from Daenerys then. I didn't even know what that meant. I simply had to get away. I stowed aboard a ship to the mainland and moved south, chased by my former master every step of the way.
I have to wonder why you stayed with Daenerys as long as you did.
You have not been a slave. A slave does not dream of freedom or wonder at possibilities. You think only of your master's desires and what the next hour will bring. It did not occur to me that I could be anything else until I had a taste of it.
But there are stories of slaves rebelling all the time. They did in Kirkwall.
The ritual that gave me my markings also stripped me of my memory. Whatever I was before may as well have never been. Perhaps if I knew, I might have felt differently.
Didn't Daenerys stop you?
The rebels had wounded him. The soldiers he brought attempted to capture me, unsuccessfully. It was weeks before Daenerys was able to mount the hunt in earnest, but by then, I was already gone.
How well did you know these Fog Warriors?
I knew them only a few months, but in that time, I felt as if I truly lived. They were bold, strong, free with their affections. I was in awe of them, and owed them everything. And I turned on them even so.
This can't be easy to talk about.
I've never spoken about what happened to anyone. I've never wanted to. Perhaps this is what it means to have a friend.
It might mean more than that.
I have never allowed anyone too close. When my markings were created, the pain was extraordinary, and the memory lingers. But you are unlike any woman I have ever met. With you, it might be different.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
If there was someone before, I have no memory of it.
There was no one after you escaped, even?
I stayed nowhere for long. Who would I trust? I didn't think I needed anyone, or wanted anyone, until now.
We could find out.
On another evening, perhaps. A last toast, then. To the fallen.
My people, I present to you our hope. His features may mark him as human, but in his heart beats the blood of the Dales. He came to us to learn his heritage, to release the power from a lineage as ancient as our race.
I don't know what to say.
This is a trick.
First Enchanter, what are you doing here? Mother told me the Dalish are honorable. Why would the Keeper lie?
Why would she entrust her people to a human?
You are one of us, Fenris. Your magic will restore our greatness.
But you told me this magic was outlawed for a reason. Even the Dalish don't practice it anymore.
Could the elves trust you with the power to shape reality? Could you trust yourself?
Don't listen to him. The First Enchanter is trying to keep you from realizing your greatness.
Trying to keep me from temptation. Just like you were. You're not the Keeper. Be gone, fiend.
You. Why did you interfere?
With my power joined to his, Fenris would have changed the world.
Have you ever seen an abomination? They are ugly.
You put such stock in appearances. Perhaps that is why your friend's loyalty only goes skin deep. You think this slave would choose you over his freedom?
Cast your eyes elsewhere, demon. I won my freedom from the Magisters long ago.
But you fear them still. They have left their marks on your body and your mind. With my aid, you could be free forever. You could have power enough to challenge any who would chain you.
If you accept, you are no better than the magistrates.
But to face them as an equal, what would you want from me?
A moment of your time, nothing more.
I have been thinking about what happened in the Fade. That a demon could have played so easily on my fears disturbs me. I failed you. I won't let that happen again.
Everyone gets one free demonic possession before I hold it against them.
Good to know. As for the boy, we shall see what he becomes, and if he regrets the mercy you provided. But that is not important now. Let's just hope we face nothing similar in the future. Hunters.
Stop right there! You are in possession of stolen property. Back away from the slave now and you'll be spared.
Is that your first offer? Because it's not a good one.
I won't repeat myself. Back away from the slave now! I am not your slave!
Where is he?
Please, don't kill me.
Tell me!
I don't know. I don't know, I swear. Adriana brought us. She's at the holding caves north of the city. I can show you the way.
No need. I know which ones you speak of.
Then let me go. I beg you. I swear
You
I
chose
won't...
the wrong master. Adriana. I was a fool to think I was free. They'll never let me be.
This is someone you know.
My old master's apprentice. I remember her well. A sniveling social climber that would sell her own children if she thought it would please Daenerys. If she's here, it's at his bidding. He knew he wouldn't let this go.
Then why are we standing around?
The holding caves held slaves in the old times, but apparently they are no longer abandoned. We must go quickly, before Hadriana has a chance to prepare, or flee. They were designed to protect against raids by fellow slavers. No doubt it's why Hadriana chose this place.
Do slavers attack each other often?
They did. What better way to find slaves than to steal them? The holdings outside of Tevinter have mostly been abandoned, but they still exist.
Maybe she wanted to redecorate. Add a few flowers.
She's not a flowers kind of woman. Let's hope this isn't a waste of time. Are you hurt? Did they touch you?
They've been killing everyone. They cut Papa, bled him.
Why? Why would they do this?
No wonder the Maker left his children.
The Magister. She said she needed power, that someone was coming to kill her. We tried to be good. We did everything we were told. She loved Papa's soup. I don't understand.
Is the Magister still here?
I think so. The Magister said they were to prepare for battle. I think she's very frightened.
She has every reason to be.
Please don't hurt her. She'll be so angry if you hurt her.
You're just a slave to them. Property to be used.
Everything was fine until today.
It wasn't. You just didn't know any better.
Are you my master now?
No.
But I can cook. I can clean. What else will I do?
If you go to Kirkwall, I can help you.
Yes? Oh, praise the Maker. Thank you.
I didn't realize you were in the market for a slave.
I gave her a job, Fenris.
Ah, then that's good. My apologies. Let's find Hadriana and be done with this place.
Stop! You do not want me dead!
There is only one person I want dead more.
I have information, Elf, and I will trade it in return for my life.
Ha! The location of Denarius. What good will that do me? I'd rather he lose his pet pupil.
You have a sister. She is alive. You wish to reclaim your life? Let me go, and I will tell you where she is.
How do we know you're even telling the truth?
You don't. But I knew Fenris, and I knew what he's searching for. If he wants me to betray Denarius, he'll have to pay for it.
This is your call.
So I have your word. I tell you, and you let me go.
Yes, you have my word.
Her name is Verania. She is in Carinus, serving a magister by the name of Ahriman.
A servant, not a slave.
She's not a slave.
I believe you. We are done here.
Do you want to talk about it?
No, I don't want to talk about it. This could be a trap. Denarius could have sent Hadriana here to tell me about this sister. Even if he didn't, trying to find her would still be suicide. Denarius has to know about her and has to know that Hadriana knows. But all that matters is I finally got to crush this bitch's heart. May she rot, and all the other mages with her.
And here I thought you were unreasonable.
Maybe we should leave.
Don't comfort me. You saw what was done here. There's always going to be some reason, some excuse why mages need to do this. Even if I found my sister, who knows what the Magisters have done to her? What has magic touched that it doesn't spoil? I need to go. I've been thinking about what happened with Hadriana. I took out my anger on you, undeservedly so. I was not myself. I'm sorry.
I had no idea where you went. I was concerned.
I needed to be alone. When I was still a slave, Hadriana was a torment. She would ridicule me, deny my meals, hound my sleep. Because of her status, I was powerless to respond, and she knew it. The thought of her slipping out of my grasp now. I couldn't let her go. I wanted to, but I couldn't.
That's more important than your promise.
It's not easy to discover your principles are less noble than you believed. This hate. I thought I'd gotten away from it. But it dogs me no matter where I go. To feel it again. To know it was they who planted it inside me. It was too much to bear. But I didn't come here to burden you further.
You don't need to leave, Fenris. Was it that bad?
I'm sorry, it's not... It was fine. No, that is insufficient. It was better than anything I could have dreamed.
Oh? I can come up with much crazier things in my dreams.
I began to remember my life before. Just flashes. It's too much. This is too fast. I cannot do this.
Your life before? What do you mean?
I've never remembered anything from before the ritual, but there were faces, words. For just a moment, I could recall all of it. and then it slipped away.
If it brings your memory back, maybe we need to do it more often.
Perhaps you don't realize how upsetting this is. I've never remembered anything, and to have it all come back in a rush, only to lose it. I can't. I can't.
We can work through this.
I'm sorry. I feel like such a fool. All I wanted was to be happy. Just for a little while. Forgive me.
I can't imagine what Hawk sees in you.
It is done. Leave it be.
Well, good. I always knew she had some sense.
Do not make light of this. Leaving was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Oh, will you two get over yourselves? You're like two dogs around a bitchin' heat.
We were talking about Hawk, not you. You keep staring at me. Is it my eyes again?
You're very lanky for an elf. I like lanky.
From what I gather, you like a lot of things.
Nonsense. But when I see something I like, I go after it.
I suggest keeping your distance.
Isabella, my dusky goddess. You have buried yourself in the flesh of my heart like a worm in a red, red apple. You heartworm, you.
Oh, look, my friend is here. Excuse me.
But I haven't gotten to the part where I invite you to feast upon my tender white flesh.
That's all right, I think I'll manage. Speaking of romance, you and Fenris, eh? That taut, controlled body, the brooding demeanor and intense gaze. I hear he still wears the shackles from his life in bondage under his clothes. You know what they say about men like that, don't you?
I'm going to regret asking you to continue, aren't I?
He can't find a saw. I had you there. You thought I was going to say something dirty.
Thank you for asking me to come along again, Hawk.
Why wouldn't I? More the merrier.
I just am pleased to see you. That's all. How is it you get into these situations so often?
What do you mean?
Attacked by dwarves, approached by strangers, stumbling upon ancient riddles? Madness.
It's a gift.
Well, I think you should return it.
I've been wondering if I shouldn't remarry. I've seen how you and that elf look at each other. I'm sure the last thing you need is your mother watching over your shoulder every time you come home. But perhaps there is still life once your children have outgrown you.
Sounds like you've got someone in mind.
Nothing I'm ready to share yet, so don't pry. But it is refreshing to think I could still be courted at this age.
I don't know what to say, but I am here.
Just say something. Anything.
They say death is only a journey. Does that help?
It just raises questions. Journey to where?
I don't know. It's just something people say. To be honest, I don't think there is much point in filling these moments with empty talk.
And then Hawk tore the door clean off its hinges, walked into the room, and... I guess we'll finish this later.
Have you got a minute, Varric?
For you, I have all the time in the world. Actually, I've been meaning to talk to you. People say you and that elf, you know, the angsty Tevinter one, are becoming quite the item. So, what's going on, Hawk?
Well, well, well. I never thought you were the type, Varric. I'm flattered.
It's the chest hair, isn't it? Women can never resist my chest hair. Unfortunately, it's not to be. I'm spoken for.
Bianca stands in my way again, does she?
What can I say? She's the jealous type. Listen, as your friend, I feel like I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't say something. You do know the elf is covered in spikes, like an angsty porcupine. He might have some issues.
I know you mean well, Varric. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing.
I certainly hope so.
I'm confused. Wasn't Lady Manhands married already?
That was a long time ago. It was easier, or seemed to be.
I can't imagine you having trouble speaking your mind.
It's just fear. I know it's foolish, but I can't get away from it. What about you and Fenris? How do you deal with the danger of your lives?
Maybe we're not the best example.
But you understand. I feel paralyzed. I hate it.
I have something for you.
It's a book.
I see your eyesight is still working fine. The book is by Shartan, the elf who helped Andraste free the slaves. You know about him, right?
A little. It's just... slaves are not permitted to read. I've never learned.
It's not too late to learn, Fenris.
Isn't it? Sometimes I wonder. I don't mean to seem ungrateful. I do appreciate the thought. I've always wanted to learn more of Shartan. Perhaps this is my chance. What? Why are you looking at me like that?
You're in love.
I am not.
Every time she looks away, you stare at Hawk with those sad puppy eyes.
There are no puppy eyes.
It's all right, you know. Even you can be happy once in a while. It won't kill you. But your face might crack if you smile, so be careful.
I've been trying to write down my arguments. To convince someone like you that the Circle is abusive and unjust. Your own sister is one of us. How can you not see? Mage's gifts are granted by the Maker. How is it any man can call himself a Templar and set himself above us?
So, what arguments have you come up with?
Andraste suffered at the hands of Magisters. Thus, she feared the influence of magic. But if the Maker blamed magic for the Magisters' actions in the Black City, why would he still gift us with it? The oppression of mages stems from the fears of men, not the will of the Maker. What do you think?
What's so wrong with the way things are?
You saw Sir Ulrich's plan. How many other Templars want mages to be their mindless slaves? For all they warn about demons, the most common way for a Circle mage to die is by his own hand.
You need to get out in the sun, not sit around in this hovel writing your manifesto.
I swear, I don't know whether to kiss you or kill you. You're everything I hate. You turned those apostates from Starkhaven over to that mad Templar. But I can't stop thinking about you. For 3 years you've haunted my sleep. I wake aching for you. It is madness. This can only end in ruin.
I'm willing to risk it.
Be careful. You've seen what's inside me. I'm not always a gentle man. If your door is open tonight, I will come to you. If not, I'll know you took my warning at last.
You're here. I wasn't sure you would come.
Justice does not approve of my obsession with you. He believes you're a distraction. It is one of the few things on which he and I disagree.
So he's kind of an unwilling participant in our threesome.
Please don't call it that. Are you sure you want me here? I thought you and Fenris... Or did the beast finally turn on you?
Don't call him that. I'm sorry, Anders. We can't do this.
Fine. Whatever you see in a maniac like that. Perhaps at least your hand will tame him.
Excellent. Killing my former brothers in arms is oddly satisfying. I've little reward to offer you, champion, but perhaps this will serve as a token of my thanks. It is time for me to move on. Unless you'd care to get to know each other better, champion.
That depends. How much do you wish to test that luck of yours?
Oh, I see. Fair enough, then. It is time to move on, as they say. I have a little war to wage back home, and so little time. Perhaps we'll meet again, champion.
I know it isn't my place to criticize, but are you sure about Fenris? He seems less a man to me than a wild dog.
You just don't know him.
I know as much as I'm ever likely to.
That's right, Mage.
He has let one bad experience color his whole world. Surely you want someone more open-minded.
A mage and a hypocrite. What company you keep.
It's our duty to tell the Templars.
Then why haven't you done it?
I guess I was hoping they'd come to it on their own.
And then you wouldn't have to betray Hawke's friends, right?
That's not reason enough to allow a Maleficar to walk free.
You think the Templars don't know I'm here? They just haven't caught me yet.
Which of us should do it? Shall we draw lots?
You want to turn them in? You work it out with Hawke. Are you certain it's her?
An elf matching your description on the ship you named. And alone, as far as I could tell.
I need to know if it's a trap.
I did as you asked, Fenris. Now it's up to you. You talk to him, Hawke. I've had my fill for today.
Fenhidis, first of us.
Maybe it's just me, but I'd swear you're upset.
It's my sister. I didn't tell you, but I followed up on Hadriana's information. Everything she said was true. I had to keep it quiet, but I eventually contacted Verania and sent her coin enough to come meet me. And now she's here.
She was in Carinus after all.
My sister left Magister Ahriman's service, and I found her in Minrathous. That made things more difficult. But according to the men I paid, it's just as Hadriana said. She's not a slave. She's a tailor, in fact. Getting a letter to her was difficult, and she didn't believe me at first. But she's finally come.
Yes, everything's gone exactly according to plan. What could be worse?
Yes, laugh at me. Come with me, Hawke. I need you there when I meet her.
Where is she?
If we go to the Hanged Man during the day, she'll be there, for the next week at least. It would mean a lot to me. That's all I ask.
It really is you.
Verania? I remember you. We played in our master's courtyard while Mother worked. You called me.
Leto. That's your name.
What's wrong? Why are you so...
I'll give you 3 guesses.
Ah, my little Fenris. Predictable as always.
I'm sorry it came to this, Leto.
You led him here.
Now, Fenris. Don't blame your sister. She did what any good Imperial citizen should.
I never wanted these filthy markings, Daenerys. But I won't let you kill me to get them.
How little you know, my pet. And this is your new mistress, then? The champion of Kirkwall. Quite lovely.
Fenris doesn't belong to anyone.
Do I detect a note of jealousy? It's not surprising. The lad is rather skilled, isn't he?
Shut your mouth, Daenerys.
The word is master.
You are no longer my master.
had no choice, Leto.
Stop calling me that.
He was going to make me his apprentice. I would have been a Magister.
You sold out your own brother to become a Magister.
You have no idea what we went through, what I've had to do since Mother died. This was my only chance.
And now you have no chance at all.
Please, don't do this. Please, tell him to stop.
Wait. Don't kill her.
Why not? She was ready to see me killed. What is she to me other than just one more tool of the Magisters?
This is your family, Fenris.
Elf. Fenris. Don't. It won't help. Trust me.
Get out.
You said you didn't ask for this, but that's not true. You wanted it. You competed for it. When you won, you used the boon to have Mother and I freed.
Why are you telling me this?
Freedom was no boon. I look on you now, and I think you received the better end of the bargain.
I thought discovering my past would bring a sense of belonging, but I was wrong. Magic has tainted that too. There is nothing for me to reclaim. I am alone.
I'm here, Fenris.
You heard what Verania said. I wanted these. I fought for them. I feel unclean, like this magic is not only etched into my skin, but has also stained my soul. Let's go. I need to get out of here.
You know, you could go anywhere you like now.
I'm aware of that.
Oh, you could become a raider. You could join my crew.
The crew of your non-existent ship?
Well, with that attitude, you're never going anywhere, are you?
She doesn't understand. Yes, I am free. Denarius is dead. Yet, it doesn't feel like it should.
Seems like you should be dancing for joy.
I would have thought so. I thought if I didn't need to run and fight to stay alive, I would finally be able to live as a free man does. But how is that? My sister is gone, and I have nothing. Not even an enemy.
You're not reminiscing about the good old days of being hunted, I hope.
I wouldn't go that far. It's just difficult to overlook the stain that magic has left on my life. If I seem bitter, it's not without cause. Perhaps it is time to move forward. I just don't know where that leads. Do you?
You're still blaming magic for everything.
Think about it, Hawk. Look at what happened to your mother, your sister, so many others. Is there anyone whose life has been touched by magic that actually benefits?
You make a good point.
There are problems enough in this world without putting such power in the hands of those too weak to resist its allure. Them I fear, as should you, as should anyone. But what's important now is moving forward. I only wish I knew where that led.
Wherever it leads. I hope it means we'll stay together.
That is my hope as well. We have never discussed what happened between us 3 years ago.
You didn't want to talk about it.
I felt like a fool. I thought it better if you hated me. I deserve no less. But it isn't better. That night, I remember your touch as if it were yesterday. I should have asked your forgiveness long ago. I hope you can forgive me now.
I need to understand why you left, Fenris.
I've thought about the answer 1,000 times. The pain, the memories it brought up, it was too much. I was a coward. If I could go back, I would stay. Tell you how I felt.
What would you have said?
Nothing could be worse than the thought of living without you.
I don't know. This might be fun to hold over you a while longer.
If there is a future to be had, I will walk into it gladly at your side. You were too willing to involve yourself in the affairs of others, Hawk. Each time you put yourself at risk. One day you will not be so lucky.
You have a better idea?
Guard what you have. Keep your head low.
Like a dragon, guarding my treasure hoard.
That's not what I meant.
Shall I eat passerby? Perhaps I can demand virgin sacrifices.
Even dragons are eventually slain, Hawk.
Are you married?
Performing a survey.
It's just, you're the champion of Kirkwall. Big, important. I don't know. Just wondering if there's a husband behind the throne.
A fine question.
Let's keep moving.
That's it. I'm officially tired of waiting to be rescued.
Why didn't you just do that before?
You said your friends were coming.
There you are. Were you hurt? What happened?
Come on. I've seen enough of this place to last a lifetime.
So, back through the castle then?
You frightened me.
Me?
Before we found you, there was a moment when I... Don't do that again.
And there's the way out. See? I told you I had a plan. It was a good plan. The kind that had an escape and everything.
Not a monster lair. That is a good sign.
So you could go. There are, however, other options.
Coming on a bit strong there, Tallis. We've only just met.
But we've been through so much together. Wyvern hunts, betrayals, daring escapes from prison.
You're right. I'm feeling so close to you right now.
So, it's true what they say about you.
Evidently.
Arcune believes they knew the risks. But what about the innocents? I couldn't let this happen.
That's what you do for a friend?
I can honestly say I'm a little jealous of you right now.
Just keep your distance.
Take a look at this.
A blade of mercy. I remember these. You see them in the Imperium. Replicas of the sword Archon Hessarian used to kill Andraste. This one looks finely crafted.
So they sell these things at every market stand in Minrathous?
Hardly. Here, let me show you. These are gifts of honor, given to those who have performed a service for the Imperium. Denarius coveted them, as I recall.
You don't talk about the Imperium much.
It's not a place I remember fondly.
Doesn't the Chantry forbid mages to rule over men?
Ah, yes. Magic is meant to serve man, and not rule over him. In the Imperium, they say that means magic should serve the greater good, which they claim the Magisters do. Do not believe it.
What do the Magisters do that's so bad?
What you call the Circle of Magi rules the Imperium. They control the Chantry as well as the Templars. They claim the Magisters are governed by holy law, but they are the law. They do as they please. All of them.
So they all use forbidden magic?
The more powerful the mage, the higher he rises in the Senate. He makes the laws, he determines what is acceptable. Everyone who wishes to compete must do the same, or be crushed. Perhaps it wasn't always this way, but it is now.
The slave trade is still in operation in the Imperium.
It varies from one Archon to the next. One outlawed it many years ago. He was quickly assassinated. Tevinter would crumble without slaves. The Imperium's elite know no other way.
Seems like a slave rebellion would end that.
There are rebellions all the time, actually. Most of them end poorly. The Senate always unites when faced with sedition. One day, things will change. Then the Magisters will see just how fragile their hold is.
I heard that the Imperium has been at war with the Qunari for decades.
Ever since the Qunari landed on the island of Saharan, yes. 80 years ago? Perhaps more. The Archon demanded aid from the rest of Thedas. It didn't get him far.
They've been at war a long time.
The Qunari only ever wanted Saharan, which they have. The Imperium has made numerous attempts to retake the island, without real success. I believe the Qunari are saving their strength, building a massive fleet. When they wish true war, we will know.
Are the Qunari that strong?
They once fought all the lands of Thedas to a standstill. If they wanted to conquer the Imperium, they would. From what I saw on Saharan, they will not relent. They believe even more strongly than the Magisters that they are in the right.
The blade is yours if you want it.
For me? Yes. I think I'd like that. I'll think of the irony as I wield it. Thank you, Hawk. Here I am, about to defend these mages in hopeless battle. You lead me to strange places, Hawk.
I'll take you to stranger places than this. Just watch.
A tempting offer. I may not get the chance to say this again. Meeting you was the most important thing that ever happened to me, Hawk. Promise me you won't die. I can't bear the thought of living without you.
I didn't quite catch that. Could you speak up?
Then let me make it clearer for you.
Slaughter spread quickly. The champion's name became a rallying cry, a reminder that the mighty Templars could be defied. She had defended the mages against a brutal injustice, and many lived to tell the tale. The circles rose up and set the world on fire. More Templars arrived at Kirkwall to restore order, but we were already long gone. We vanished into the hills, and circumstance eventually forced us all to leave the champion's side. Well, all of us except for Fenris. You still hear the stories, of course. With each telling they grow, even if, at the core, remains the truth. A new legend